2020-21. Due to restrictions imposed by the prevalent pandemic, we are organizing this event digitally. To begin with, we apologize for any technical glitch that could happen during this meeting. Let me first acknowledge the presence of our eminent guest, Dr. Angela Pandey, Principal Scientist of ICAR, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, Division of Plant Exploration and Germplasm Collection. It is indeed our pleasure to have her amongst us in today's event. Now, I would also like to recognize the presence of our respected Vice Principal, Sir, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta, teachers from Deshbandhu College, as well as from other colleges of Delhi University, and my dear friends. The Department of Botany has created a niche for itself in the college by achieving high repute in academics as well as in co-curricular activities. Enriched by the legacy of some very renowned teachers in the past, the department is proud to have a committed faculty, which excels in content writing, research, and teaching. The department inculcates scientific and experimental spirit in the student. Saraswati Mahabhagi Vidya Kamala Lochane Vishwarupe Vishalakshmi Vidyam Dehi Namostude. It's a holy tradition to worship Goddess Saraswati before any important event by invoking the blessings of the Almighty Saraswati Vandana. Let Saraswati Devi remove all our lethargy, ignorance, sluggishness, and bless us all with the wisdom. Let's fold our hand and be involved in Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्.
Now, I would like to invite our respected teacher in charge of Department of Botany, Dr. Aparna Nautiyal ma'am, to say a few words and address the gathering.
Thank you, Priyanka. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Namaste and a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Department of Botany, I welcome you all on the occasion of Valedictory Function of Botanical Society for the academic session 2020 to 2021. Today, we are honored to have with us our eminent speaker, Dr. Angela Pandey, who is Principal Scientist at National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, USA. Thank you, Madam, for sparing your valuable time and readily accepting our invitation for today's talk. I welcome you on behalf of my department and college for today's event. I am also thankful to our respected Principal Sir, Professor Rajiv Agarwal, who has been a constant source of inspiration and support to the department in all the activities with an aim to progress for the betterment of the college in all aspects. I welcome our respected Vice Principal, Sir, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta, who is himself an alumni of this college and a source of encouragement to all the students as well as fellow colleagues. I also welcome our sincere, hardworking and dedicated IQAC convener, Dr. Aditya Saxena, who has always been supportive in all the activities of the college. I also welcome wholeheartedly all the seniors, colleagues, friends, and dear students from our college as well as other colleges of Delhi University. I fondly remember today the contribution of my respected former senior colleagues as well as our beloved late Dr. D.K. Dharmendra Kumar Malik sir, who have played an important role in laying the foundation of Botanical Society and in the progress of the Botanical Society and the department. Our department pursues a mantra of holistic development of a student with inculcation of a scientific temper by supplementing the conventional classroom and modern teaching with various kinds of activities. Botanical Society gives a platform to the students to develop and showcase their talents in various scientific activities held throughout the session. Today, the yearly activities of Botanical Society are going to take a new shape with the release of our annual magazine, Petals. Petals, our annual magazine, provides an opportunity to the budding writers for self-expression of their views, creativity, and skills. I wholeheartedly congratulate the Botanical Society advisor, Dr. Madhurani, who has been a sincere and hardworking and a major force behind the activities of the society throughout the session. As well as I also want to congratulate the Student Council team, who have wonderfully organized all the activities throughout the year with a beautiful compilation of annual magazine Petals today. I am very much hopeful that this legacy of the excellent performance will be carried forward further by the upcoming society advisor of the current session, Dr. Sunita Malik, and the newly elected council team. I wish them all the best for the future endeavors. I am very much sure and hopeful that today's talk by Dr. Angela Pandey ma'am will be an insightful and fruitful talk for all the audience. I thank you once again to join us for this event. And now I hand over the session to our moderator, Ms. Priyanka, for continuing ahead. Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your motivating and encouraging us. A pessimist complains about the wind, an optimist tries to change it, and a leader adjusts the sail. The sail for this particular notion was adjusted by the person who is not only a great motivation to all of us, but also a visionary. He is none other than our beloved principal, sir, Professor Rajiv Agarwal. Due to some prior commitments, sir will not be able to join us for this event, but he has already conveyed his blessings to all of us for this event. Now, I would like to call upon our respected Vice Principal, Sir, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta, to address the audience with his words of encouragement.
Thank you, Priyanka. I'm audible. Do you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Priyanka. A warm good morning to all of you, though it's cloudy outside, but I can see the warmth of knowledge and talent in the Botanical Society. Welcome to one and all present here, respected principal, Professor Rajiv Agarwal, who is a visionary, constant source of motivation and transformer for Deshbandhu College. Teacher in charge of Botany Department, Dr. Aparna Nautiyal, senior faculty members of the Botany Department, Dr. Sarla Gupta, Dr. Bela Bhatia, Dr. Roshni Rajamon, Dr. Kumar Shantanu, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, and our young, versatile, dynamic junior colleagues, the students who are the person motivating force behind the society, see other faculty members from Deshbandhu College, all the participants, all the members of Botanical Society. A warm welcome to all of you. Today, the guest of honor is Dr. Angela Pandey, who is Principal Scientist, Division of Plant Exploration and Germplasm Collection, ICAR, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources. A warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of Deshbandhu College and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to all of you. My special congratulations to the Botanical Department and Botanical Society. I remember earlier that sometimes there used to be festival Sanjeevani of Botanical Society and the annual magazine Petals that always used to be a charm for Botanical Department, for the adjacent department, that is Zoology Department. That's why I say that Botany Department is very, very close to me and my heart, in the sense I belong to Zoology Department, and together Botany and Zoology form the life sciences. I can vouch, I can say that Botany Department of Deshbandhu College is one of the best department in the university, with experienced, dynamic, motivating, encouraging, inspiring teachers, faculty members, with one of the finest infrastructure. And of course, the real soul and life of the department are the students. So students are just fantastic. On a couple of occasions, I interact with the botany students, and they do really remarkable. Last 2 years were difficult times because of COVID, but at the same time, the student have shown that no hurdle, no problem can stop their commitment. And in that way, throughout the year, Botanical Society has organized some of the fantastic and wonderful events. So a big applaud and congratulations to the Botany Department, teacher, faculty, and students. Today's talk, that is one of the fantastic, first of all, the resource person who herself is such a renowned person in this field, and the topic itself is such fantastic. We always talk about conservation. We always talk about exploration. We always talk about extinction of the species. And we always believe in improvement of the crops. So in that way, we improve, but at the same time, we should remember that the wild variety should not be lost, because the wild varieties has been evolved by its own course, by the process. So they've survived the process of natural selection. And in that way, they sustain the nature. But at the same time, they really represent a big resource, what the nature has given to us. Plants are maybe the most dynamic system. They have all the things, all the molecules, all the genes, which is required, which has evolved. But of course, during course of artificial selection, we encourage some of the parameters, some of the characters which are more useful to the human being. So what I mean to say, these aspects of conservation or this maintenance is very, very important part. I remember that the title of the topic is Economic Botany. The title of the topic is Economic Botany and Plant Genetic Research. As Dr. Aparna Notial very rightly said, that I'm alumnus of this college and I'm proud alumnus of this prestigious institute. And I remember as a zoology student, I always used to study botany, and some of the prominent persons of botany department used to teach me. And for me, that time, economic botany means remembering some of the scientific name, that's all, and knowing some of the economic importance. But right now, the economic botany has really extended a lot. It is not restricted to remembering the scientific name. It is, in fact, as the topic say, economic botany and plant genetic resources, national perspectives. We are privileged, we are lucky that we have a vast flora. We have diversity of ecosystem. We have diversity. We have diversity of habitat, maybe desert, maybe tropical rainforest, maybe higher altitude, maybe plains and all these things. And we are privileged that we have I expect that this talk is going to be very, very enlightening to all of you, including me. And I'm really eager to hear the talk of Madam. Thank you, Priyanka, again, and congratulations to the entire botany department for this valedictory function of the past academic session. My congratulations, my best wishes and blessings. Keep doing good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for motivating each one of us. We are so honored and privileged to have Dr. Angela Pandey ma'am with us today. Now, I would like to call upon Tanya Saxena to take over the event and introduce our chief guest for the day.
Thank you, Priyanka. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Dr. Angela Pandey. Dr. Pandey did her undergraduate and postgraduate studies in botany from Delhi University. She finished her PhD from Delhi University in the year 1999 with a thesis focusing on plant surface fungi in relation to deterioration. Her field of specialization includes economic botany, plant taxonomy, and systematics. Dr. Pandey has about 36 years of research experience in these areas and is currently engaged in plant genetic resources activities relating to identification, use, and value addition of economic plants and systematic studies on Indian taxa. By virtue of her association in research work in plant genetic resources, she has acquired skills in plant identification of diverse groups of cultivated, lesser known, and semi-domesticates from the Indian region. She has recently described 2 new taxa from India. Her specialized fields of work focus on diversity, distribution, and systematic studies on economic plants of India and wild relatives of crop plants of the Indian region. She has visited various institutes and international herbaria like Beltsville, New York Botanical Gardens, Fort Collins, California Davis, Arnold Arboretum, Missouri Botanical Gardens, and so on in the United States of America and the APPARI in Thailand. She is also currently engaged in teaching at PG School of IARI New Delhi in courses in plant taxonomy. Dr. Pandey was also involved in organizing and participating in several workshops, trainings, symposia, and meetings organized at ICAR, NBPGR, and at several organizations within India. She is in the editorial board of Plant Germplasm Data Reporter, NBPGR, and Journal on Plant Genetic Resources. She has to her credit 220 publications, including 100 research papers, 8 authored and edited books, technical bulletins, book chapters, and popular articles published nationally and internationally. She has authored 4 books in PGR, including Wild Edible Plants of India, Diversity, Conservation and Use, Checklist of Crop Plants of India, Wild Relatives of Crop Plants of India, Collection and Conservation, Vegetable Genetic Resources of India, and Types in NHCP, published from ICAR and BPGR. She has been an expert member in the panel of DST-funded projects IIT Delhi. Dr. Pandey currently holds the post of Principal Scientist at the Division of Plant Exploration and Germplasm Collection at National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, New Delhi. She is also the curator of the National Herbarium of Cultivated Plants, New Delhi. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite our speaker, Dr. Angela Pandey, to please enlighten us with her talk.
Thank you, Ms. Saxena. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for inviting me for this talk. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. Saxena and other people who have given me the chance to be in front of you. Very warm greetings from the Department of Exploration and BPGR. It is my immense pleasure to be with you on this forenoon of 18th January 2022 on the virtual platform and addressing the Botanical Society function of Deshbandhu College, University of Delhi on the valedictory functions organized today. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to deliver my talk on the subject of my interest. I congratulate the entire team under the leadership of Principal Sir, Professor Rajiv Agrawal, Vice Principal, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta, Coordinator, Dr. Aditya Saxena, Teacher in Charge, Dr. Aparna Nautiyal, and Society Advisor, Dr. Madhu Rani. In addition, we have the Society Office Bearer, led by Vice President, Ms. Srilata, and Dr. Madhu Rani, also Shreya Gupta, Ms. Mushkan Mukheja, Secretary Chaitanya Dusha, and last of all, my friend, Dr. Roshini Mathur. With the help of her, I'm in front of you today. So before I congratulate you on the occasion of the release of your beautiful book, and the name is apt, that I think Petal you have said, it's named as Petal, it's appropriately named so, and I'm so happy that through such publications, such magazines, we are able to attract large number of people who read the books and read the literature and can put their ideas into black and white. So I'm so happy and congratulate the entire team, Botanical Society, who has taken extra efforts to bring this work in front of all of us. To start my talk just now, I would like to say a few words that in this program, I'm looking at that we have large number of participants, 192 participants I can see in this participants list in front of me. So many of you are students, I feel, but large number of the faculty people and the senior people, principal and other people who will be attending this, my lecture, will be participating here. So I'm not as an expert, since you have introduced me with beautiful words saying that I'm experts in so and so fields. But let me tell you very frankly that in the entire period of your lifetime, we keep on learning, and learning keeps on going, growing and growing. And since I completed my graduation and post-graduation in 1982 from the Botany Department, Delhi University, and after that I did my in-service PhD again from the Department of Botany in 1999. And in my service, my CV has already been read. An entire lifetime I have tried to devote and learn from students and deliver my ideas to the students. And it's a two-way process, I believe it in a very strong way. So I believe that whatever I'll be speaking is through my own experience, and we'll be having a course of, cross questioning, and any kinds of suggestions from your side, I would be happy to hear from you. So I think with these words, I can switch over to my screen and start my lecture now. Should I? I think my screen is visible now. Yeah. So as said, that the topic given to me, rather I have selected this topic for myself, is on economic botany and plant genetic resources, Indian perspective. You rightly understand, because in the botany department, in our days when I was a student, economic botany was a special paper. So economic botany is always very close to my heart. And you very well know that economic botany for the institutions or teaching institution may be something relating to anthropology, archaeology, and many other ethnobotany, etc., where the applied fields and the basic fields like anatomy, systematics, and taxonomy, etc., are also considered in that one. But at the same time, after coming into the job, I understood that economic botany is directly related to plant genetic resources. And in the entire lifetime, I have been working in the NBPGR on these topics and these related works, which have gained me a lot of fame and work potential. And I'll be talking in the Indian perspective level only. So coming to the next slide. Economic botany is rather defined as a science dealing with interaction of people, their society with plants. In other words, we can say that plants are a part of our integral part of our life. And so we understand the same thing as a good relationship between plants, people, and the relationship in enhancing our lifestyle. In relation to the economic botany, we would have some terms which I'll be using during the entire talk. Is agricultural biodiversity, which is also called agrobiodiversity, which is nothing but includes crops, livestock, wild relatives, and along with this, interactions of other species, living beings like pollinators, symbionts, pests, and parasites. Plant genetic resources are the crucial component having value as a resource for present and future generation for human beings. This is a definition given by Biodiversity International, which was earlier called IPGRI 1993. Total spectrum of the plant genetic resources includes land races, traditional varieties, modern varieties, wild and weedy relatives of crop plants, and also the potential domesticates, which are very, very important these days, because in the times to come, when we are going to have challenges, those potential domesticates and the wild relatives are going to help us in the time era of climate change. Agriculture, cultivation, and domestication are some of the definitions which we must understand. The process of rearing plant, animal, and wild animals or plants and taming them. Cultivation is the physical activity relevant to and associated with agriculture. And domestication is the process that has led to genetic shift from adaptation of population to better change or artificial environment created by cultivated condition. So after going through these definitions, we come to the some of the important aspects of biodiversity, which are hotspots of biodiversity lying in Himalayan region and the Western Ghats, where Hindustan Gene Center is supposed to be one of the centers globally, which harbors many hotspots, including Western Himalayas, Western Ghats, and also your Indo-Burma region. Large number of plant species belonging to cereals, legumes, vegetable, fruits, spices and condiments, and other species in these genera are lying in these regions. Species of economic values also includes Echinocloa under the cereals and others. Similarly, under vegetables, many other taxa we already know about them. So going directly into the economic plants. Economic plants, or the plants useful to the human beings, have always been, the human race has always been interdependent on all those plants. The term interdependence indicates that in the entire globe, no one nation is sufficient enough to have the plants on which they can sustain themselves. But because of this interdependence process, we have been introducing plants from one region to the other and exporting the plants and sending them from our region to the other one. So this is called interdependence. The flow chart on the left-hand side indicates how wild species have been directly utilized after addition of value addition and also of commercialization and have reached to the consumers. In the other side, we can say that semi-domesticated species, which were partially selected by human being, have come up to cultivation, and through intervention of the national policy makers and others, after value additions and networking by different institutions, they have entered into the consumer's basket. On the right side, I'm showing a scene of the tribal huts where some wild plants harvested from the nearby jungle area or somewhere and are being sold directly. And also the food basket, the vegetable basket, it's showing you the level of interdependence that none of the vegetables shown in this basket is from the Indian region. So presently, after completion of my book on vegetable genetic resources, we have come to the conclusion that India presently holds about less than 1/3 of the species of Indian origin. Majority of the species are from outside. So through this one, I would like to say that so many species are lying in our homestead or home gardens in the tribal areas as well as with the farmers. Many of the traditional leafy vegetables are examples of that one. Minor fruits and medicinal plants are being used at different levels. These pictures are not to impress you, but to say that large number of some of them are totally harvested from wild, and the diversity indicated by this kind of, shown by these pictures is showing that these wild material or semi-processed materials coming directly into the market and is being used for edible purposes by different human beings. Tribal areas demonstrate many economically important plant species, and also they are exhibiting and showcasing the plant genetic resources management. In the sense that in the tribal areas, large number of species available in wild are being safeguarded and are being conserved, and their gardens also are in their kitchen garden on-farm conservation, they are being maintained, and they are self-sufficient. Those tribal people are self-sufficient in many consuming and utilizing many of those economic species. Their conservation and storage methods, what they are following are worth considering for us to understand that how our tribal people have helped us in conserving many of the plant species till today. We also find that exchange of such plant resources are being done in a reciprocal manner. Reciprocal in the sense that such material is being exchanged amongst the neighboring tribal areas or the neighboring farmers, and such material are also being exchanged free with the mutual benefit and also being conserved and exchanged for the religious purposes. Such data and information is being documented in several places you can come through by ritual practices and the customers and in their local songs and tales. Such information is still available and being conserved. On the right hand side, I will show that this exhibit is available with me, and this is prepared from the rice, inflorescence, the rice spikes, and has been woven into such a beautiful wall hanging. And this was donated to us from one of the tribals in UP area when our explorers were visiting. And this kind of, this wall hanging is prepared when harvest is done. And this is given at the time when their daughter gets married and goes to the other villages, other areas. This has to go there, and it's having the live seed material, which on intervention to the other area, this is being grown to the next. So by this process, this material is conserved as well as takes part into the exchange process. Here I'm trying to show you the tribal area. Their native indigenous material is being consumed in different form. It's one of the village hut in the Dungri tribal area in Gujarat region, where I just now completed my exploration in the month of November. How we can identify the tribal areas? I have told you that those tribal areas are the ethnic sites where large number of material you can see. So in those areas, we have local plant genetic resources in empty number, large number, multi-purpose uses of the same plant you can see. Also, the impact of ethnic society in their tradition and culture you can see. Their areas are less influenced from outside. And there you can see the entire spectrum of genetic resources, which means plants from wild as well as from the cultivation. You can see the same plant growing in wild as well as the plant available in the cultivation in their custody, in their homestead. Similarly, their entire cultivation area is low input agriculture and with low cost option available, which enhances the nutritional value. Also, their rituals and their cultures are full of knowledge with their indigenous tradition and about the environmental knowledge. So this photo, I'm trying to show you the Bihu festival where there, the whole plate is full of local material, which is being conserved only for the purpose of their festival. So by this way, they are conserving the material. These are the Naga people who are conserving some of the seed material of coex, which is one of the grain being conserved for the purpose of their festivals and community richnesses. Local hearts in the villages are also reflections of large number of economically important plant species. Here is the Kirini material. Many of you would be knowing this in the villages hearts of MP area. Chironji, I think many of us have eaten in the sweets. It comes from Buchnania lenzan, which is growing in the wild totally in the jungles of Madhya Pradesh and the Chhattisgarh region, where the tribal farmers are harvesting and only using the fruit for edibility. But the brokers are collecting this material and extracting the kernels of same one and selling at a very, very high value to the urban areas. Similarly, there are large number of other examples. I will not go into details. There are thousands of such examples. The ethnobotanical database has listed about 10,500 plants of economic use, which are there listed. And if any of you are interested, it's available online. This is again another Rajasthan tribal people selling large number of local fruits, including many of you know, Grevia and others, which are being relished by us in the urban area. I think many of you would be familiar with this one if you have visited some northeastern regions, but many of them are really lesser known types. I have completed my studies on wild alliums of India. Wild alliums are known to be the seasoning spices for the Indian region, particularly in Himalayas, northwestern Himalayas, as well as eastern Himalayas. Number of species are being harvested for leaves as well as for flowers being used for seasoning our food. This is a Himalayan onion, which is being cultivated in a lesser known places in the upper Himalayas by the tribal people, as well as in the city in Pithoragarh region and many others. So this idea of showing this one is that over 12 species, including many of the onion species, are semi-cultivated minor species and lesser known wild edible taxa in the Himalayan region. One of them is Allium tuberosum, Allium prisvilliscianum, Allium hookeri, Allium stretchii, which has now come under the Red Data book. It is endangered in the Himalayan region, and some of them I have just described. I'll be showing you in the next slide. Focus of National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources in past 5 years has been on the genetic resources of northeastern region, where we have undertaken about 45 explorations with the help of our partners, state agriculture departments and agriculture college students who are helping us in assembling and collecting the material. So by doing so, we are involving the younger generation as well as enhancing our own knowledge by collecting and conserving more diversity, which is likely to be lost in near future. These are some of the contributions of our institutions and my team, where we have described one of the species of Herpetospermum operculatum, where this species was identified in the jungles of northeastern Nagaland area, Sikkim and Nagaland area, But later on, we located the same one in the village hearts where it is being used as a leafy vegetable. Similarly, juglans, sigillata and Caryota obtusa are some of the species which are new records for the Indian region. These are some of the methods where our tribal peoples are drying the material, drying the material in their homestead and helping the material for the conservation without any infestation of any fungi which take place during the process of conservation. Some of the Jhum cultivation area in the area of northeastern region, Parkia roxburghii, it's a tree species. The leaves are used for, the fruits are used just as the pods which we are using in the urban area. Many of the leafy vegetables about which we do not know much about them. We have been working to explore the possibility of introducing such material into the other area. The indicator, this side I'm trying to show you the Makhana fruits. Many of us have eaten Makhana in different forms, but the tribal people of Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and northeastern region, Manipur and West Bengal, these people are cultivating this in the pond area and using the seeds of this one for various purposes other than what we know. This slide indicates large number of brinjal, wild brinjal species about which even we have not seen them in this part of the country. All this material is being gradually collected by us and is being put into the gene bank for conservation purposes. Some of the species are being cultivated in the area in our regional station Shillong, and we are trying to work out the possibility of introducing it to the newer areas and also doing the nutritional analysis. Utilization of locally economically important plant taxa from the forest area as products. You already know that tamarind is available, but this kind of tamarind having very huge pods was collected by us in the Tamil Nadu Eastern Ghat area and from one of the tribal area where we also saw the fruits of Strychnos nux vomica, which is one of the important medicinal plant. Going to the coming slide, I would like to say that millets in the tribal areas are being explored gradually because now is the time that we should switch on to the millets because they are not only nutritionally important, but they are the cereals which will help us in times to come when there is lack of water to cultivate the current species which are wheat and paddy. These millets are going to serve us for the food purpose. You can see the different types of ragi, foxtail millet, different colors you can see. We know only very little one of them. So these are different types which we can see, different panicle types, which I'm trying to exhibit over here. In the Chhattisgarh areas, we have undertaken about 100 accessions we have collected, 9 explorations have been undertaken in a very small area, and we have gathered a lot of knowledge to decode many of the economically important plant species which are known to them, and they can be introduced to other parts of the country for value addition. Similarly, Tharu area in Uttarakhand, I myself has visited, which is next to the Pantnagar University. There we could see cowpea having very long. It's a common one in southern India. But in the tribal areas, they are conserving and consuming it in the different forms. Then the brooms prepared from Sida species, which is growing just wild around their habitations. And we had a chance to interact with their conservation methods in the clay pot where they are conserving their fresh harvest and consuming it for a very long purpose, conserving it for a very long purpose. I would like to share one of my achievements here. I have recently described an allium species, wild allium species onion, and I have named it after one of my former colleague, late Dr. Negi, Kuldeep Singh Negi, who has just expired. The species I have named is Allium negianum. So I'm trying to show that this species is growing in the Niti Valley of Uttarakhand. And there we have seen, earlier this was known by one of the common name, and it is available, it is being under cultivation by the Bhotia tribes. And it's in the market being exported also, and in the Uttarakhand areas, it is also being sold at a very high costly rate, 1,000 rupees a kg, and more than that. When we went there, we found that this is not the species with the name which they were saying that this is Allium stretchia, which they commonly called fern or jambu. But when we explored the type of the material which was growing there, we saw that this species could be something different. So this is the globally new species described by us, and this will add to the genetic resources of allium from the Indian region. Next one, I would try to show that on-farm conservation of crop diversity. On this one also, NBPGR is working. My team is also going to different areas and trying to popularize some of the land races of paddy, which has just gone out of cultivation because of the change in the agricultural practices and coming of the new high-yielding cultivars replacing them. So we are trying to convince people, trying to convince the local people or the farmers or the tribals that they should cultivate them. So under this project, our farmers, we are trying to convince them, and this particular project has just been concluded now. Again, the Jaunsar tribal area, where we are celebrating a lot of community field days or diversity mela, where they are bringing up a lot of material available with them and telling us that in what way they are consuming it. So it's a really very fascinating process to visit those areas. So I'm trying to say that the tribal or ethnic communities are our real PGR laboratories, where we can witness how the material from wild to the cultivated is moving. We can also see that for many of the crops, they are the centers of origin. They also demonstrate the evolutionary process from where the character change from wild to the crops that we can just see. And we can also see that abiotically and biotic stresses are being screened in those areas through the wild progenitors. Besides, a lot of knowledge is available with them. I would like to share one of the success story, which my team, including myself, we have been able to complete. In this one, this particular species is a tuber crop, which is in the Khasi Hills. It's endemic to that area. So in that Khasi Hills, it is called the Flamingia vestita. It is also called as the one of the species. And this is Mogania vestita. It is being harvested, cultivated by those people. It's in the larger scale cultivation, and it's being grown there. And we were able to see, because this material, they are eating it. This is soflong, this is locally called by the Khasi and these tribes. They use it for curing it for stomach disorders, including tapeworm infestation in the children. So this is, we thought that if it can cure the tapeworm, why can't we explore the possibility of having some anti-helminthitic property? We can see it if it can work for the nematode resistance also. And the powder of the same one, we tried to put some experimentation and saw that it was really very effective. And this experiment is still in the progress, and the results will be shared shortly, where we can prove that some organic nematicidal material will be available for use in disinfecting the soil with the infested with nematodes. Recently, during my visit to Gujarat area, we happened to explore the identification of one species of weed, which is commercially being used. It's called Bloomia Lessera. It's available all through the country as a wild weed, but the Dungri tribe, there they are cooking it in the form of a dish. They call it umbadiyo. And if some of you have happened to visit the Gujarat area, in the southern Gujarat, particularly in Surat area and the Dungri area, Valsad district, you happen to eat this beautiful, such a spicy thing, and they are preparing and putting number of legumes in this one, and also the purple yam, and also the sugar beet, along with this chutney prepared from coriander and garlic. And this one is your Phaseolus lunatus, which is nothing but lima bean. And this is their kitchen. It's available in the open restaurant, just open hearts, restaurants there, dhaba style restaurant are there in the highway, and Bombay Gujarat highway. We could see several shops with, and after exploring the material, we found that it's Bloomia Lessera, and we have published this information that the village areas, and after seeing this, it's an aromatic one. But they were saying that they are using it for imparting the aroma. But after a study and entire literature, we believe that it's not only imparting aroma, but this plant is also an antibiotic. It has antibiotic properties and antibacterial properties also. So it may not be only imparting the flavor, but it will also be enhancing the value of food by putting up its medicinal value into the food system. So this slide, I would like to show the entire spectrum of the economically important plant species, Bacilla, some of the wild Herpetospumum, which we have just described. And this is the wild bhendi, which is also, we have explained the use of the stem in clearing the good preparation jaggery manufacture by putting the stems. This we have just explored, and this cultivation is going on in Uttar Pradesh area. And this one is the, many of you know it as a cherry tomato. It has gone into the tribal areas also, though it is an introduction. But this cherry tomato has now gone into the tribal areas. This lily is also in the water areas, and it's being used in the form of vegetable or the popped form. So some priorities for R&D include many of the species, which you need not bother much, because these priorities are decided on the basis of our national perspective as well as for the country need. So NBPGR has been asked to prepare such kind of material, such kind of list for different fora. Traditionally important, economically important plant species has been listed about 7,500, of which spiritually important as well as the medicinal value species are totally 10,500, which are ethnobotanically important. The baseline work we have tried to finish in my book, Arora and Pandey, where about 1,500 wild edible plants have been shortlisted to 145 roots and tubers, 521 leafy species, leafy vegetables, 101 bulb and flowers, 647 fruits, 118 seeds and nuts, and many other species included in this one, this book is under the revision now. Moving way ahead, the success story, there are large number of new species described, new methods of food use are described, species used for medicinal, and also we are enhancing the consumer awareness through different participating in different programs and visiting to different tribal areas. Recently, there is a big hype about quinoa, about which every urban person is very well knows about it. Chenopodium, quinoa is Chenopodium quinoa. But we have Chenopodium album growing as a weed in our area. Why can't we think of exploring this, which in our laboratory we have found this is more nutritious than quinoa itself. Similarly, by enhancing such kind of food, we need the networking. the strong marketing for it, because just by saying that this is important, that is important, it is nutritionally very high, will not work unless we do a strong marketing as well as R&D, which will be need-based and social science with multiple approaches using multiple disciplines involving also women stakeholders have to take a lead role, and also the topmost role will be of the home science department in different universities and the institutions. Third point is the public awareness. Public awareness in the sense that if we say that some material is very important, people will not eat. Our new generation doesn't want to eat anything if it doesn't have any food value. If we say that a material is having, it's very good for skin, it is very good for, say, for about hair enhancement and also for some other uses, and nutritional value, reducing the fat and all that, such kind of enhancement through public awareness will enhance the user list into and enhance our propaganda or advertising through different fora. And so in this one, the food fest will have to be organized, public address will have to be made, and food competitions, testing sessions of the indigenous foods, and value addition through feedbacks. And tribal festivals are really beautiful, where during the tribal festivals, the younger or the rural population, the urban population should visit those areas and see what kind of nutritious food our tribal and the people to whom we consider as the backward people, they are consuming it in a more scientific way than we do. So last of all, my slide says, do the tribal areas need attention? For the economically important plants, including plant genetic resources, yes. The global data suggests that there is a decline in nutritional quality of food. And we can cope up this challenge, yes, definitely, through plant genetic resources in the tribal areas, which have the tremendous potential. We have challenges to address the global issues, particularly the climate change and nutritional security issues, which are going to address and enhance the use of economically important plant species for younger people to come who are going to lead our nation. And better understanding of the economic botany, including the plant genetic resources and plant genetic resources and their management, will have to identify the gaps, shortlist. We have to list the priority areas where we have to think of exploring the entire spectrum, including land races, primitive cultivars, wild relatives, endemic species, potential species, less known species, and species of importance, where these days this term is being utilized and being addressed in many fora, like nutraceutical value, the plants of nutraceutical values, which means those plants which we can add to our food, and they are also having the medicinal value, nutritional value. Those are the species, those are the economically important plants which our new generation will easily adopt. Similarly, their documentation in various forms, the tribal communities consuming the material, their method of consumption, their nutritional aspect will have to be addressed, for which basic research on conservation, adaptability studies, multiplication, and nutritional aspect have to be addressed. I've talked about awareness in my earlier slide. Last of all, I thank again the organizers who have invited me to deliver this talk and address the right kind of audiences, who are the younger people, most of them, and teachers who are going to forward my talks and my words to further generation, future generation. Thank you once again. And also I would like to thank my colleagues in the ICR and the PGR, my co-authors and co-workers in various works which I have tried to show in my presentation. Thank you all. And with these words, if the time permits, I would really address a few questions from the young people particularly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for this informative and wonderful presentation. I'm sure your presence and wise words must have inspired so many people out here. Now, with your due permission, ma'am, may I take a few questions from the audience for you to answer them?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, ma'am. So the first question is, first of all, could you please describe your journey, how you got interest into this field and to becoming the principal scientist? So, ma'am, it would be
Yeah.
pleasure to tell.
Yeah. Already my CV is indicative of a small spectrum of this one. I would like to say that during the time when in 1982, I completed my MSc from the Department of Botany. And this was the time when most of the people were not at all interested in entering into the research field. And all of us were wishing to write competitions and write many other competitive examinations, including forest services and including the civil services. And I was one of them. So in my selective subjects also, I chose to take economic botany and also the botany as one of the subjects, and one of them was non-scientific subjects. So during that time, I felt that I had a special liking for the science subjects. So I thought that in economic botany, I also in the botany per se, it's really a subject which fascinates me. So I thought that by entering into the administrative service will not be a real justice. And after that, I was parallelly appearing for the ARS services, Agriculture Research Scientific ARS, which is already even now operative through the department. We have a selection board in the ICAR, and our students are really appearing in this one. And when I was parallelly writing the competition and I appeared in the ARS services, I got selected at the first attempt. And in that one also, we had a very big, question bank, which is to be addressed through the economic botany as well as taxonomy and other fields which were taught to us in the botany department. So I was really happy that my journey from the botany department was really helpful to put me into the scientific field. And I was very happy to share with you that with us, the name scientist, because we were recruited at that time as scientist S1, which was the ladder one, first step in our journey, the scientist one. And from that one, we kept on looking forward, working on many of the projects which came. And during my journey, my mentor, late Dr. R.K. Arora, he gave me a mentorship during my joining into the service. And Dr. Roshini Nair, who is also from the department, she was my colleague here, senior colleague. Both of them have contributed a lot in my enhancing and improving my skill in the scientific field. And with these enhancement, I started writing, and I presently tell each and every colleague of mine and also my students that whatever you experience, wherever you go, if you find something new, you must bring it to the public domain. You write blogs itself, you go to an area, find something new, some new food or new type. If you see, just write a blog, there is nothing. But during our time, there was no such kind of, platform where we could address and speak. But now you have a lot of avenue and a lot of platform where you can just write. And by doing so, you sharpen and understand what is actually and why it is important. And through this entire journey of my career, now I am here. And this year itself, in October, I'll be retiring. But after my retirement, I have two major objectives. One, plant species and their domestication from the Indian region, which is one book which I'm going to write. And I have thought of writing, if my health remains okay during this period, I'm thinking of completing that one. And the second would be the alliums from the Indian Gene Center. So these two tasks I would like to complete during my post-retirement period, besides enjoying my family, with whom I'll be staying till my end days. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, our next question is, as domestication generally in normal English is taming of animals,
Yeah.
But in your presentation, I learned that you said it lead to genetic shift from adaptation of population to better artificial environment. So could you please elaborate on the genetic shift, how domestication has helped you?
I would like to address to this point that domestication is the taming of plants, taming of animals and bringing the plants. Plants cannot be tamed, okay? Animals can be tamed. And
Yeah.
through that taming process, we have brought buffalo, cow, and dog, and many other domestic animals. Similarly, plants from wild have been gradually thought of that they are very important. For example, if any plant is growing in the forest area or in the tribal areas, they think that it is very important. Why to go each and every day to collect that plant? So from the forest area, they select a few plants out of the entire population. And after selecting, they wish that they think of bringing that material into their domain. So gradually they bring it to their nearby area and they plant them. So this is not, the genetics is not being changed. The plant is only brought to, that means they are protecting the plant and they are bringing closer to the human domain. And after that starts the selection process. Their progeny keeps on growing. If it is an annual, the progeny takes place at a faster rate. If it is a tree species, the multiplication propagation is very slow and the annuals take place at a faster pace. So after a process of growing and cutting, the tribals or the people, they select the best type. And there plays a role of genetics coming into picture. We select a type which is the way which we want. For example, in the forest area, the fruit is very sweet, but the flesh is too scanty. Okay, so, the flesh is very scanty, and also the drupe is having very big one, very hard one. We don't want that one. So among the selected type, we try to select the type which is having the higher flesh and the less of the hard portion. So gradual selection will take place, and during this selection process, sorry, we are doing the unconscious selection. And over the period of generations together, we are bringing the desired type into our custody, and that is what is happening in the tribal areas. And once they are being under the cultivation, the selected types, which we are really needing, that becomes the cultivated type, which we are taking care. So many times it has also been said that the wild types do not take extra, they do not deserve extra care. They can grow by themselves. But the cultivated types, they have become so much dependent on us, even for watering, nurturing, putting fertilizers and all that. And the same thing has happened during the process of domestication. So I think I have been able to address your question.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Now our next question is, ma'am, one of the speaker has, ma'am, how can we promote the use of wild varieties among the public?
Yes, in the last of my slide, I have tried to show that wild material, I think if you go to the market, even in the urban area, we see that a small Ziziphus species, which all of you must have tasted, very beautiful taste, but it comes from the wild harvest. Fine. Even currently, we are having many species which are being sold in the market, and they are being utilized by us. So by networking or by value creation, by value addition, you will be able to put it into the habits of students. For example, I gave you one of the examples, Moghania vestita, Soflon, that they are using it in the Khasi Hills. It is not in our habit. If I try to grow it or try to market it in the Delhi market, we will not be able to accept it because the taste is not acceptable. but it is very good for stomach disorders. So what in my work we have done is, we have put it in the chocolate. In the chocolates, we have tried to put 50%, 25% in the different proportions we have put, so that our kids who are very, very fond of chocolate, they can use it and they can be treated for the nematodes or the worms in their stomach. So that is the way. Also by value addition, sorry, because of my bad throat, I'm not able to continuously speak. So by doing so, by adding into the diet, we'll be able to put it into the interest of people. And I've told you that value addition and the home science people will be able to put it into the different, for example, biscuits and the bakery items. We can always blend them as per our needs. And we can propagate that this particular wild species is very, very nutritious. It is very good for, say, for example, if I tell the younger people that it's very good for pimples and skin, glowing skin, I think all of you would be happy to consume that. So that way we'll have to advertise, we'll have to take home science into our this thing chain, and marketing will have to be done. So that is the way, and people in our department, we have a project called Underutilized Project Networking Mode. They are working on it, and they are also interacting with the tribal people, and they are also preparing the material from such kind of material which you are asking. And recently I was told that in the Shirdi Dham, they prepared the prasad out of it, and the prasad is being distributed to so many people. So that is the way we'll have to think of it. And in this one, I feel that younger people, young and enthusiastic people and entrepreneurship, and through their entrepreneurship, they can bring this material into the public domain. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
The next question is,
Yeah.
as there are lots of plant species which are already discovered, so how do we get to know that the species need to be discovered yet?
As far as the knowledge goes, the evolution of plant is not a process which is going to stay there as we have discovered. It's still going on. As their plants are developing, the edibility of the human being, or whether it's worth consuming or not, is also a continuous process. And in this one, I have already indicated in one of my slides that the species are continuously being evolved, continuously being tried by the traditional people. Although many of them are in the records, they have to be rediscovered rather. We would not say that they are yet to be discovered, they have to be rediscovered from the existing literature, though many of them are still in the process of evolution. So there is no, we cannot say that they are not being evolved. They are in the continuous process. It's only that we have to search for their better nutrition, better availability. And this is the way we'll have to search for newer types to come. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Very true, ma'am. Okay, so the next question is, ma'am, could you please let us know what kind of farming techniques these local farmers are using for growing these economically important plants, whether conventional farming or organic farming?
Presently, during my visit to the tribal area of Gujarat, we have seen that because of the intervention of policymakers, because public distribution, seed distribution system is in place, so they are advertising it for the fertilizer. But now the emphasis is more on organic farming and more on the composite farming. And for this one, the tribal farmers are being awarded also. They are doing the composite farming, where they are also doing, putting, animal, they are also rearing the animals, hens, etc., and milching animals also they are putting up in their area. Then fisheries, they're preparing a pond in that area, and they are cultivating fishes also. Similarly, the excreta from the animals is being used in their farm area also. So the composite farming is into the practice now, and the organic farming. And one of the farmers to whom we visited, and he told us how from the cow urine, they are preparing, a fertilizer as well as a pesticide by putting many of the herbs, including tulsi and a wild tulsi, leaves of milching them along with that one, and they were spraying it. And during COVID time, they told us that the cow dung as well as the cow urine was being utilized. So this is the way they are, through their own knowledge system as well as their own practice, they are utilizing. And besides, parallelly, the local system is in place. And also the current farming system is also being practiced by some of them. Because, when we do the composite farming and when we do the, commercial farming, then the input becomes higher. You have to irrigate the land. You have to put more fertilizers if you are using the high yielding varieties. So for that one, if you are selling your product into the market for benefit and economic utilization, earning more money, then you need to adopt the system of having the modern system of cultivation. But if the tribal people are also doing 50-50, that is what we have seen. But they are also into the practice of conserving and growing the land races, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Another is a bit long one. So it's saying that during or after Green Revolution, most of the wheat species with lot of beneficial advantages are harmed or vanished from the fields for getting more profits from conventional farming. So how do you see this as a loss of farmers' economical strengthening? And is there any feasible way where these species can be saved in the fields by seeing today's biodiversity situation and also the farmers' conditions?
Yeah, it's a good question. And rather in this one, it requires a long debate. Because, on one side, USA was responsible for a great revolution, green revolution so-called, which has made our country as self-reliant, self-dependent. And also we have so much of our, food storage, which has come into place. And we are proud of having we have been able to supply the material to outsider and we have become self-independent. At the same time, it is well-known fact that by more watering, irrigation, and application of fertilizers, the soil table has gone down. And also in the water table, the quality of water by the application of high fertilizer has got polluted. And also several diseases and other things have come. So it's a long debate. I will not go into that one. But at the same time, our fulfillment for the hunger is more important. So I think, I feel that at this stage of time, we have to work for the other things parallelly, and NBPGR is taking the lead. We are conserving biodiversity, particularly the land races, the types which are now gone eroded, and we are collecting it. And wherever somebody told us that this material will be available there, our scientists are walking miles and miles to those areas and are collecting the material from the farmers, from the tribal areas, and we are multiplying the material and putting into the gene bank. And we believe that the whole system will, the cultivation of land races, which is full of nutrition, though it may be less in yield parameter, but our younger, from the molecular science people, they will enter, their entry is desired at this moment of time, that we should come out with something hybrid to take care of this one. And with the land races, and we'll gradually pick up some of them and we'll look into the newer techniques to intervene and satisfy our consumers. So at the same time, we believe that satisfying the hunger for poor people is a must for any national leader. So this process will keep on going ahead. Parallelly, organizations such as MBPGR has to play a proactive role, for which we are already actively doing. And many of the students from your department, Dr. Rosni Mathur has brought many of the students, and they have visited our gene bank, they have visited our herbarium, and they will appreciate that we are conserving the latest varieties as well as the old traditional varieties, as well as the old land races which are going to be eroded in near future. Also, many of the variation types available are also being conserved. So through the interventions of many departments, this question will have to be addressed after a long debate in which young people will also have to take their part. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is, how important are tribal people in the contribution of science, especially when we are talking about traditional knowledge?
As I've already indicated, that in my entire talk was more focused on the tribal people as well as the local informants. This is not only the knowledge which they are imparting, it is their scientific skill. They are not able to put their scientific skill into words, but they are practicing a lot of it. I have given one example where these people from the Khasi Hills have told that they were consuming it for the control of stomach tapeworm, because they are consuming the pork in big quantity. So their kids are having the tapeworm problem and the stomach disorders. They know very well that this material is having the anti-helminthitic property. So they are also utilizing it as a regular food diet instead of going. So this is a scientific approach. Selection is another scientific approach by which we can say that they very well know that this material, if it remains in the forest area, will not be able to improve it. But if it is brought to their domain, it will gradually improve. So they very well know. The reason they do not know, but at the same time, they know very well that after bringing that material into their domain, the selection will be easier for them. That we very well know that the genetics will have to play the role. So we can say that their science part of it, though they do not know what they are doing, but they are scientifically practicing. And that knowledge we have to harness. We have to see that what kind of knowledge they are having. We have to scientifically prove it so as to bring it to the knowledge of our policymakers, and also to save those knowledge, and also prove it nutritionally also. So in a similar way, we'll be able to address this issue in a better way. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, could you please elaborate on the peculiar features which make the newly discovered species by you of allium different from the other species?
Yeah. Recently, the publication is in the October 1990. Phytokeys is one of the good publication where it, and in the YouTube, you can just watch what kind of information is available, and it has been addressed in many fora, because phytokey people believe in advertising more than what we are trying to address it. In a short way, I would like to say that when we saw that our Bhotia people, after 1962 Indo-China war, earlier than that, they used to bring that seasoning spice from that part of the country, that part of the globe. From China, the Bhotia people used to bring it and sell it to the Indian. The cross-boundary movement was not a problem at that time. After 62 war, when that thing closed, then our people thought that why can't we hunt that material in our own area? Those started growing it to a larger level. And I belong to Uttarakhand Himalayas. And in that area, I'm very well knowing that to us, that seasoning of our food stuff, more than the coriander, We are using it for garnishing many of the preparation, including our pulses, including our food stuff. So when I just saw that this material could be something else, when in our regional station, Huali, near to Nainital, that material was grown and it was researched upon, we found that the flowers were very different from the type which they were indicating. Because these tribal people were saying it with some local name, and in some of the publication in public domain, from the Nainital University and others, they published it with some other name. When I saw that this is not matching with the property of that, if you know taxonomy in your curriculum, we very well know that if a plant description is already existing, we try to match the existing material with the detail available by the author, which we call the protologue. So when I matched it with the protologue, it was not matching. Then I decided and worked upon it, and we saw, and biochemically and molecularly also we proved that this material belongs to a new species. Then we tried to publish it, and it has come as a new species, and it is a new global record which has been put into the record of the global alien species from world. So we are the one who have described it, and this is from us, from NBPGR.
Very interesting, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, one more question. Can you advise reference publications or standards on characterizing plant genetics research and development activities and the outputs it generates?
Yeah, there are already available descriptors. If you see in the public domain through the internet, if you search that, if I say that you are growing a species, for example, okra, ladyfinger, you will see that it is growing in the area. You need to record all those features as per certain standard descriptors. Standard descriptors are nothing but recording of individual plant data in certain advisable format. For example, the plant height, for example, the type of leaf. Within the leaf, what are the features to be recorded? Within the inflorescence, what are the features to be recorded? In the fruit also, what are the features to be recorded? All those descriptors are there. Details are given in the descriptor list, which is published from time to time by the Biodiversity International, also by the NBPGR and many other people. They are publishing the descriptors for evaluation of a species. So when I'm growing the okra in my field, I will record all those populations as per the descriptors description. And when I put it into the evaluation sheet by visual observations or by the computation methods, which are already available, then it will show the diversity analysis. And the diversity analysis gives you whether it is variable or variable up to what level, and which is the particular state where highest variability is indicated. Those are the different guidelines which help us how we can evaluate that material during the process of plant genetic resources description or descriptor methods. Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. On behalf of entire Deshbandhu Botany fraternity, I gratefully once again thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and to share your expertise with all of us. And we hope it was a positive experience for you as well.
Thank
it
you.
was indeed a great pleasure for all of us to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, organizers. Thanks once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, all the participants are requested to kindly fill the feedback form, for which the link has been floated in the chat box to avail your participation e-certificates. Now, I would like
again,
to call
one
Priyanka.
request from my side.
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.
One request from, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, one request from my side. Each one of the students particularly is going to give me one example of a plant which during their journey to a newer area, or something which their grandmother or their grandfather or their parents have told them which is not seen by them now. They can send me through your faculty, and you can send me this information. I'll be glad to understand and would be able to enhance my knowledge. And it should be a both-way process, the reciprocal process, not a single channel. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure,
Goodbye
ma'am.
and best of luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So now, Priyanka, I would like to call you again to propel the events of the program further. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyansh. Now moving on to the most important segment of our event, the magazine release. We feel immensely proud to present the first ever departmental e-magazine in front of you all. As the title goes, petals fall in love with plant. Every petal is essential to make a beautiful flower. Likewise, different segments bind our magazine together. Each segment of our magazine is created with a lot of efforts put in by the editorial board together. The editorial team comprises of the following members: Faculty Advisor Dr. Madhurani, Student Advisor DNSS Srilata, Editorial-in-Chief Shreyansh Gupta, Magazine Design Team by Priyanka Barua, Mansi Sharma, Kaveri Chand, Shiv Pratap, Aditya Prakash, Gulam Mohammad Jafri, Literature Review Team by Muskan Makhija, Jennifer David, Priya, Tanya Saxena. Student Coordinator Team by Shifali Sharma, Anjali Singh, Riya Paul, Neha Lohan, Chaitanya Dassa, Madhu Dral, Vishakha Sagar, and Salman Khan. Through this magazine, we have tried to highlight various disciplinaries like art, literature, and a lot of insights in botany is also reflected. Now, we will proceed to present Petals, the e-magazine for the Department of Botany. Thank you, Muskan. I hope all of you have enjoyed the journey with us. Now, Naisa will introduce you to the hands behind this creative magazine. Over to you, Naisa.
Thank you. Individual commitment to a group effort. That is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work. And that commitment made us all work together for this event today. So I would like to introduce you all to the Botany Council to present them with the certificate and mementos, starting with the office bearers. President Srilatha. Vice President Shreyansh Gupta. Treasurer Muskan Makhija. Secretary Chaitanya Dussa. A successful team is a group of many hands and one mind. So, how can our council be limited to only 4 members? Here are the class representatives and the council members. Class representatives from Botany Honours 3rd year were Nikendra Singh and Prasanjit Kar. Class representatives from Botany Honours 2nd year were Aditya Prakash and Tanya Bangalia. Class representatives from 1st year were Bisham Khalil and Tanya Saxena. Council members from 3rd year: Ashik Ahmed, Ayushi Rawat, Humaira Mirza, Naurim Tokyo Singh, Praveen Kumar, Priyanka Mishra. Shikha Kumari, Shrishti, Subhangi Bharadwaj, Saurabh Kumar, Shushma, and Shweta Gupta. Council members from 2nd year: Anjali Singh, Dipali, Ghulam Mohammad Jafri, Jennifer David, Kaveri Chand, Mansi Sharma, Neha Lohan, Priya. Priyanka Barua, Riya Paul, Salman Khan, Shefali Sharma, Shiv Pratap Singh, and Suhani Kumar. Council members from 1st year: Ankur, Jatin Gaur, Kajal, Madhu Dral, Nisha, Naisa Hanglu, Riya Karhana, Sandesh Kumar. Shikhar Jan, Shubham Dwivedi, Surbhi Garg, Sweetie, Vishakha Sagar, and Yati Goyal. We often take for granted the very things that most deserve our gratitude. Now, I would like to introduce our society advisor for the session 2021, Dr. Madhu Rani. Ma'am, you gave us the strength we needed, and your endless positivity made it a joy to work with this council. You taught us that we can never go wrong with the generous spirit, and because of you, our society achieved great success. Now, I would like to invite Priyanka to carry forward the function.
Thank you, Naisa. Now, I feel privileged to invite Dr. Aditya Saxena, IQAC convener, to enlighten us with his words and motivate every one of us for our future.
Priyanka, I think Aditya sir could not join us, so you can continue.
Oh, okay, ma'am. No problem. Ms. Srilata, President of Botanical Society, had been one of the most prominent students of our department and excelled in academics as well. She performed her duties toward the society with great interest, enthusiasm, and sincerity, involving each one of us at every step in our organizing events for the society. We are truly grateful to her for rendering her services and wish her the best for her future endeavors. So, as we come to the end of this lively gathering, I would like to invite her for delivering a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Srilata.
Thank you, Priyanka. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
To all the people present here, it is safe to say that this past year has been anything but normal. And after having experienced most of it, I realized how much we have grown together despite being apart. For some of us, 2021 was our final year in university as students before we venture out into a new chapter when life begins for each one of us on their own path. However, never forget the experiences, friendships, lessons, and memories you have made because they will always stay with you no matter what the future may hold. On this occasion, I've been given the honor to thank my teachers, council members, and my fellow students of the Botany Department. First of all, I would like to thank our esteemed guest, Dr. Angela Pandey, for taking time out from her busy schedule to address the gathering. I'm grateful for all the opportunities our Principal Sir, Professor Rajiv Agrawal, and our Vice Principal Sir, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta provided us with, without which our council would not be able to achieve its full potential. I thank our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Aditya Saxena, who made this event possible. I offer my heartiest gratitude to our teacher in charge, Dr. Aparna Nautiyal ma'am, who guided all the students to achieve their goals in life. I thank our society advisor, Dr. Madhurani ma'am, who had full faith and confidence in our council and helped us to be a better version of ourselves. Thank you, Dr. Monica Bajaj, for your technical assistance and for making this event a successful one. I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Anshu Chibbar, Dr. Sunita Malik, and Dr. Rubina Chongtham, who assisted us in every way possible and always had our back. We are forever indebted to our teachers who have provided us with education and lessons that last us a lifelong. A special thanks to the media coverage team for always keeping the show running. And how can I forget the non-teaching staff who spend their time and energy in making this university a better and comfortable place for us to study. Last, but certainly not the least, I thank my fellow council members and students of the Botany Department, without whom the functioning of the society would have been a fictitious dream. Their hard work and dedication made this event a successful one, and I hope that the coming council surpasses our expectations and makes a name for themselves. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity of undertaking the leadership in our Botanical Society as council president. I got the chance to work with some incredible people and learn more about what it takes to be a successful team player, all while doing so. My experience in Deshbandhu College has rather been a special one. I'm blessed to be a part of a very supportive community from the very beginning, right from managing academics to participating in co-curricular activities. I would also like to take this opportunity to remember our beloved Dr. Dharmendra Malik, sir, who dedicated his life to teaching students not only to excel in academics, but also in life. With this, I would like to conclude this valedictory and wish all the students the best of luck in their future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Srilata. In the end, I would like to take this opportunity to admit my thought. A good event never ends in this world. They only take a pause and keeps us awaiting for the next. I now request everyone to please switch on the cameras for capturing this memorable event. Soon after that, we will be having national anthem and will be ending the meet. Also in the chat box, we have posted the link for the feedback forms. Kindly give your thoughts and receive your e-certificates. Thank you so much for joining us. Please switch on your cameras now. Thank you everyone for joining us today.